Good Tuesday morning. Today's the feast of Saint Mark, the evangelist. Okay, and this is going to be just an aside. I don't know much about Saint Mark, but I know he wrote the first gospel, and it's the shortest. Okay, it's short and sweet. Okay, and why I want to say this, there's very little known about him. I think, for what I know, I don't know anything about him. But you know this. Here's the personal reflection. All right, when we formed Saint Mark's Parish, okay, this is very important to me. It was a combination of the three parishes on Union Road here in St. Louis, for those of you not here. All right? They combined St. Tim's at one end, Mary Queen of the Universe, and then, it slipped my mind the name of the third, Precious Blood, okay? And we chose the name, the pastor did, Monsignor Hembrough. He chose the name. I think it was a concerted effort by the parish council's combination of St. Mark's. And I was glad about that, St. Mark's Parish. Why? Because St. Mark is the little guy. I mean that. I think of you want to see majesty, read St. John. You want simplicity, read St. Mark. Okay? He gets it done. Okay? He's the little guy's gospel, in my view. And that's exactly the parish. We're the little guys. I love this parish. I've been in it 50 years. If you start with St. Tim's, 52 years. Came here in 71. Even my Louisville years, I came back. It's 5 o'clock this morning. You see, I came back often, once a month. And the summers, I virtually stayed here, most of them. And the people, 5 generations here now that I've had some ministerial relationship to and friendship, okay? Imagine listening to me for 50 years. Are you kidding me? 53 years, 52 years, okay? 5 generations. I think I've gained vastly more by my experience at St. Tim's and St. Mark's. But I think especially at St. Tim's in the early years, I learned what a parish was. I learned how the faith was lived and handed on. I told you that already. I know I did. I think I did anyway. I'm sure I did. Because I saw the life of the faith. And it's the little guys. It was the fathers coaching their kids, the mothers with the mothers' club and their daughters and sons, etc. It's the life of the faith. Was it perfect? No, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't intended to be. It was living. These were people struggling with their lives in many ways. I saw the hardship of divorce. I saw all that went in the life. I saw marriages. As Luke Camario said to me when I first got here, first of all, he told me you had to make as the Italians say, you have to make your bones. You had to prove yourself. This was a place where the priesthood was not taken for granted, let alone was put on a pedestal. You had to earn it. I was pretty pleased by that. That's not the case on the East Coast. The East Coast, if you were a collar, you got a free dinner in the Tivoli restaurant, the swankiest restaurant in New England. Here, you have to pay the tab. And I agree with it. Pay the tab. Nobody owes you lunch, dinner. Nobody owes you anything. I mean that. I was very uplifted by what I saw the priesthood here. You had to earn it. You had to earn it. Nobody's going to pick up your tab. And I meant it. And I saw the life of the church, and I saw the life of the priesthood as being the service to a community that was there, the little guys. But the little guys had the faith, and they were passing it on to their children. Perfectly? No. In a stumbling manner? Yes. But faithfully, by how they live their lives. When Luke Camario said to me, you're learning. He says, you're getting there. I was there about 2 or 3 years. You're learning. He was right. I was getting it. I was beginning to learn how to do what? How to be a priest among people. You were learning. And he's the one, he was so eloquent in so many ways. He said, this is a parish. I think I already told you that. He said, you baptize us, you marry us, and you bury us, the life of the family. And I was thinking about that this morning, I guess, for whatever reasons, because now I bury 2 of the 5 generations. Yeah. And I think of all those with whom, I use this expression, with whom we have walked this life. Generations, whom I've walked with. Yeah. Been part of my life, part of the narrative. You can't tell my story without telling the story of the parish and the people of the parish, as well as my passions and professional vocation, my professional life. But the parish is very, very essential to me. It's as essential as the other elements, because it's where I ministered for 50 years. And the people, it's not a thing I do, it's with whom I do it. You know, I look at Dottie Brown sitting in the front row. She and Don, God rest them, is the first couple I met at St. Tim's 53 years ago. That's 52 years ago. It's exactly true. She's still sitting in the front row of the church. She sits 3 rows back every morning. She's there every morning at 5:45. Okay? See that? That's the life of the faith. See? The life of the church. See? And all that goes with it. Now she's a widow, okay? Children, grandchildren. And that's just one of many, many, many. And so many of the ones that I was closer to are dead. An entire generation. Closest friends I've had are dead. Junie and her husband, Bill. God, all that gang. Just yesterday, I got a call to go and anoint a woman in hospice. And I went, and Ginny, she was one of Junie's best friends. They went to school together, as I recall. Yeah. See? It's just, I went in and anointed her. Jen Quillo. Yeah. Everyone else in that gang, as far as I know, are dead. She's 95 years old. See? Yeah, that's the life of the parish. That's the life of the faith. We birth them and bury them, and everything in between, in the great story of human nature, human life. That's the life of the faith. And it's St. Mark's. To me, the parish, St. Mark's, St. Tim's, you want to know the church? Go into it sitting in the pew with the next guy. Yeah. And everyone has their story. Everyone tells their story by the way they live. It's the narrative of faith and life. And I find it really moving and beautiful, even in its tragic bite at times. Human suffering at a tremendous level. Sometimes the loss of children through accidents. It's the life of the faith, lived in the flesh. That's what I learned at St. Tim's. My debt to St. Tim's and St. Mark's. The pastors who took me in and let me be a part of it, that I ministered because of their graciousness. Literally. They owe me nothing. See? It's been a privilege and a blessing to have been part of St. Tim's, St. Mark's Parish. Very much so. More than I can ever express. Not institutionally as such, although I'm grateful for the pastors. They were generous. They let me stay. They let me do it. Okay? It's the people. The people invited me to be part of their lives and to preach to them a gospel that they were preaching to me, that we were preaching and listening at the same time. They taught me who and what is the church. And I try to minister to the church that they are and that they are. Right? We learned together. We listened together. We spoke together. They taught me the life of the faith in the flesh, the life, the parish, where the faith is born, nurtured, Eucharist, and finally die. You know, where they enter into the fullness of the life of the faith. I learned that in the parish. I learned that at St. Mark's and St. Tim's. It's got names and places. There's a sadness in my heart, and there's a greatness. I have buried my friends here, those with whom I have walked this life, preached to and been preached to, listened to and listened to. Isn't that neat? I'm glad we chose the name St. Mark. He's the little guy, the little gospel for the little people of God, the life of the church itself.